Call the first infrastructure meeting to order. Ms. Martin's got the roll call under control.
We did have a quorum.
So item number 3 on the agenda is the election of the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary, and we will start with the election of chairman.
I nominate Clint Mathis.
Well, you were quicker than I was.
We have a nomination of Clint Mathis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any more nominations? All in favor of Clint Mathis, say aye. Mr. Mathis, this is your meeting, sir.
Okay, we'll take nominations for vice chairman now.
Eric Martin.
Yeah. Got a nomination for Eric, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Step away to ask us Terry to come.
All right, any more nominations? All in favor of Eric as vice chairman? Any opposed?
Yep. One.
Motion carries.
Don't work it.
And we'll take nominations now for secretary.
I nominate Ms. Martin Smith.
I'll just volunteer.
I never would've guessed that.
Never did. That was
I
easy.
don't think anybody's gonna be opposed to that. Congratulations, Ms. Martin.
Thank you.
All right, and, so new business, and I think the mayor has some new business for us, so we will let him. Terry, gonna make it?
Yeah.
All right, we're up to you, so we're at new business, so I see you have the new business.
So, we put this committee together for a couple of different reasons. The main reason is the state is full of grants right now, as we all know. We've taken in several million this year with the county. Of course, that's a great thing. But, I wanted to attack Parks and Recs last year, and we attacked that. We got those funds secured, and this year I wanna attack some type of infrastructure. But to do that, I really wanna know which way we wanna go as a county and what's the best, where are we gonna get the best bang for our buck grant wise, even if we have to go in and start taking out, USDA's offering up 0.5% loans all the way up to 2%. City of Dover just received one for 2%, I think. So, I just wanted to discuss and see where do we want to focus our efforts in, because the meetings that I went to about grants lately, and I went to several of them, they're kind of specialized meetings. So, are you going for water, are you going for sewer, are you going for, broadband, or, so, so that's kind of where we're at. I kind of want to get y'all's opinion on that. We didn't have a huge meeting tonight, but the election of chairman, vice chairman, all that, and with the new business, I want to know which way you guys believe. If you believe like I am and think our growth is coming in from Montgomery County, see North Stewart's growing. They had the most children since school came in. That doesn't necessarily mean anything to you, but what do you guys think? What do you want to attack as far as this upcoming year with grants? What do I need to start looking into? Are we wanting to go something with sewer? Are we wanting to go with water? I can tell you the money that's out there is a lot, but it won't do both of them for our county. So,
I guess one of the things that this frustrates me is that if you decide to get it and you do the grant, it takes 3 forevers to get anything done anymore. It might take 2 years to even get the project before you even stick a shovel of dirt in the ground.
and that's the reason, that is the main reason why I wanted to start an infrastructure committee, because if we don't, I can go out there and I can tell you what I think we need for the county.
Absolutely.
That don't mean it's right. So I wanted some other opinions,
Well, I talked to you about maybe getting sewer from Dover Bridge to at least North Stewart over where that school goes on to it later, if it needed to. And there'll be a day coming, I think, that North Stewart will have problems up there,
State of Tennessee already recognizes that.
And, And I really, if you just had, to me now, for just one person, and at least from the Dover Bridge to North Garrett. And maybe later on, maybe, you know, you add to it later or whatever, but that's due to get, that's due anyway. So, of course, Mr. Rye over here, he's pretty well up on stuff like that, and,
Right.
but, you know, I like to see that in any way possible, and, I think that needs to be addressed, that's just me.
You get grants for that.
Sure, I mean, there's all kinds of grants that, now, recognize, what, you know, what Seth already knows is, there are grants out there, but there's not gonna be grants out there for the kind of monies it's gonna cost. We will have to go before the county commission and talk about a low, it won't be a no interest, but like I said, today, with inflation, if you get a 0.5% interest, you're making money. All you have to do is simple math. If you get a 0.5% interest loan from the USDA, you are making money off nothing more than inflation. So, so it's not gonna be all grant money, no, yeah, I don't think it will be. I don't even have a ballpark figure of what I think it would cost to get, my ballpark figure is in my office. I would say it's liable to cost $7 million to get a line out there to North Stewart Elementary School, but I don't know, that could be 2 million or that could be 10 million, I have no idea, you know.
You're pretty close between both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
I guess my thing would be, you gonna let the city of Dover treat it, or are you gonna be on a treatment facility? That, you know, that would change the dollar amount of my whole lot.
you know.
Well, this sewer, the Pinckney brothers or whatever, the high school hooked on to, does that create a problem for us? About us running lines, getting sewer in there?
So the only person that I've spoke with the new group, the only thing that they were concerned with was the customers that they had. And I'm not speaking for them, and I'll go on record as not speaking for them, but now they act like they got all they can handle.
But they do have the rights over there. They would
They
have
have
to
a
sign
right,
off or something, right?
yes, we would have
They
to
would have
get
to refuse
it,
it.
right, they would have a right of refusal on that, sure, but like I said, I don't, that could be an issue, but I don't see that as gonna be our issue at all, I don't. But, you know, that is there, they have a contract in place for that. But
When we met with them several years ago, Terry was there,
Yeah.
they, you know, they was all in favor of doing whatever, as long as the county give them the money to do it.
Well, and they were supposed to run a survey.
That's right.
From the survey up through there, and I don't guess they ever got back with us on that. And they were at the meeting, and I think the ideal people get in the sewer business is North Stewart Water and Sewer. You know, North Stewart already got their bin, they got the backhoe, they got everything that they need, I guess, to a certain point.
To a certain point.
And you have to add more, but and add North Stewart Sewer and Water, you know. And at that time, y'all were looking, maybe, y'all wasn't really against that, am I right?
Well, so. It wasn't 100%,
Okay.
not 100%.
I think that's something you can look at, you know, is it cheaper to cross the bridge with a line, or is it cheaper to build a sewer line? I obviously don't know the answer to that.
Well, then that's where I wouldn't know.
That would be a sad question.
And is Dover
And
willing?
can you feasibly cross the bridge?
Right.
I have spoken with many folks from the state, and I have yet to get a definitive answer.
Yeah, I know, and, you know, I know it sounds like it'd be wild, but you could do a directional bore and go under the river, too, which, I mean.
You don't have to have permits for that, do you?
Yeah, it gets a lot easier when you do that, cause you.
Not attaching it to the bridge.
Yeah.
Well, if you look on the Dover sewer, when that would fall under Dover sewer, that would be their line, right? If you done that.
Yeah, I guess you could decide where the boundary of it would be, you know, and let's just say North Stewart, you know, wanted to service the collection system on their side of the river, and then you have a metering point where you can say, okay, at this point, when it passes through this meter, now it's, you know, if you were doing that, Stover's, and that's how you would, you know, that's how a lot of places will bill by, they bill by the, if one place is taking sewer from another, they'll have that meter, and that's the boundary, and then they'll.
Kinda like,
it passes
North
through.
Stewart does with backwoods estates from Woodlawn.
Yeah.
We have a meter there on the county line.
Yeah, and like, over in Houston County, you know, Tennessee Ridge and here, do that, you know, Tennessee Ridge doesn't have a plant, but here it does, and they got, they're a meter that they measure it by, and bill like that. So, you just have to, I guess you have to decide where that, you know, where's the right place for that, you know, what's the fair place to put it, because, you know, that going to that river, if you did it that way, you do have some, not saying maintenance, but you do have some risk there that something goes wrong, you know, you kinda gotta, that's a.
Well, that's where an engineer might come in there and see which might be the best fit, am I right?
Yeah, that's right, and it might be, going across the bridge might be the cheaper, you know, or better way, once you kinda looked at it and really try to propose something to the state, maybe just see if they'll really, you know, if they really allow you to do it. We've done bridge hangers on, you know, bridges before, but they not have been as major of a route, you know, with 79 is. So.
How's the state on, if you've done them before, how do they, what's their feel
Oh, doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
They really wanna make sure that you've got, like, the ones that we've done, they're been off to the side, like the bridge deck, you know, and you gotta have a good place to put these anchors in and these hangers off there. You know, the way this one is, I mean, you got a lot of room on those big, deep, you know, channels and stuff. They just wanna make sure you're not gonna mess with the integrity of the bridge. You know, you start drilling a bunch of holes or, you know, doing something,
Right.
they're gonna be
They
concerned.
make you do like a structural analysis or anything, maybe?
I wouldn't doubt it, so. And, you know, too, it's a lot of times it's nicer just not to even have to, you know, you just don't have to deal with it, you can put it under. Just gotta find a place to, you know, land it on either side to do that.
So, and that, so Tennessee Ridge, Ear, and all that area's got water issues. We've seen that with the cattle processing plant coming in. They have issues. They don't have issues day to day, but there's any circumstance that arises that may be stressful, they have water issues. We don't have those water issues with our customers right now, but what we have is folks that don't have water yet. The one thing that bothers me more is things like our nursing home, and I said this in the meeting down at the industrial board the other day. And not to understand this is a Dover problem, but it's also a Stewart County problem. If our Dover water plant gets hit with a tornado or whatever, who knows, you know, bars done hit the line twice, they cut those off, our nursing home's cut off. I would love to see us tapped into somebody like Cumberland City or, you know, some water source coming from that way also.
Well, they are tapped into Cumberland City.
I'm sure, yeah, but there's no pumps,
Oh, okay, back towards like that way.
so like they can't, Dover can get water to Cumberland City, but they can't get it up in the tank, am I correct? Right, yeah.
Hydraulic problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's an issue that we'll have to deal with. And Charles's grandson had a ball game, I didn't know that, so he just texted me. But it's things that I kinda wanna know from you guys, which way do we wanna start exploring first,
What would be the probability of pumping out of Kentucky Lake back this way? And y'all, I'm sure y'all talked about that on the water situation back down this way. What's the
West Stewart back
possibility,
this way.
what's the possibility of coming out of the lake down there with water?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something worth looking into because, you know, it would, the nice thing about it, if you ever make something like that work, is that it would you'd be bringing a bunch of good boys down there too, you know, but you'd be bringing it across a lot of the county that probably could stand to benefit from water if you were trying to, you know, bring it back through Dover.
It'd be some growth there if it was like.
Does West Stewart only operate off of wells?
It's wells right now, yes, sir. There's like,
Is that y'all's hope to go to, or no?
I think in the future, you know, if the growth was there, of course, it's kinda like you gotta, you know, if it starts trending that way, I think it would be better to have a more, you know, not that the wells are unreliable, but, you know, it's nice to have multiple ones in case one goes down, but that's really not a way to get a whole lot of water, the way it's set up down there now. I mean, you need a plant to really be able to put the volume
The
out.
feasible thing be to come out of Kentucky Lake proper, coming out of the lake down there.
Yes, sir, I think so. It'd be nice if you could, whatever plan, you know, if that was an idea to try to build a pretty good, transmission line system when you bring it out of there, so it could, you know, that's one of the problems, like serving, Dover from Cumberland City too, even if you had the pumps, the lines aren't all that big. You know, if you built a plant that was a long way off, you wanna make those lines big enough where you could really get some water and deliver it
Well, like
to
anything,
everybody else.
Noah went down with water, that you could feed it back this way.
Yeah, and I mean, you couldn't, of course, you couldn't go the way the crow flies, that's where you'd like to go, but if you could, it's really not that far from Dover's last tap. You know,
Yeah.
they have water down behind Cindy's on, I don't remember that road.
Hidden
Back,
Hollow,
well, the last one is like down there where Jeff Hancock lives.
you know, Hidden Hollow.
Yeah, hidden trail, whatever.
Hidden Trail, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, really, I mean, really not talking about a long ways
Hidden valley.
to really fix an issue.
Yeah.
I think, was it probably 3 miles or so to 232 and then another probably 3 to the
You
lake.
know, yeah, I was thinking 6 to 7 miles is about,
Yeah.
we would run across there. That's a,
Well, this might not happen all at once, but we need to work towards, you know, improving all this, what we're talking about tonight.
yeah, I
Improving
just,
water.
I don't wanna come back to the county commission and say, I just got $7 million for sewer, and then everybody look at me and be like, you know, we don't want sewer, or we don't, you know, I'm like, so I need to know which way to get out there and fight, you know?
I think we need to prioritize on what's gonna affect in a positive way the most people and not, you know, break the bank at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier to push water than it is to flow sewer. I mean, you're talking about 30 inches on water, you're talking about several feet on sewer with pumps and whatever. Now, don't get me wrong, I hope we can push sewer out to North Stewart. But at the same time, you know, there's a lot of growth coming from the east towards the west. There's a lot of places out east that don't have water either.
Yeah.
I know North Stewart's trying to fix part of that, so.
Yeah, they're fixing to start a huge project, and it's gonna help, it's not gonna help the citizen right now that doesn't have water, but it's gonna help the base for the
That's right.
citizens that don't
For the
have water.
future.
They don't even have the ability to get water down to Indian Mound right now until this
Yeah,
project's over.
And it's taken 3 years to get to that place.
Yeah, that's right.
And look at the project totals went up
Yeah.
every year, it goes up
Absolutely.
again. So, I mean, I'm definitely gonna start looking for grants and looking for ideas as far as the infrastructure goes. As far as water and sewer goes, I don't know where it's gonna land. I mean, I think it's gonna have to hit a USDA's, I spoke with, Sam Ninu, right before I walked in the door a while ago, and he was asking me, what's the water and sewer status, what's going on, you know? So, cause he was here for that USDA meeting, and,
Well,
so we
one of
definitely
my
got some folks wanna help us right now.
biggest concern if North Stewart did go down, if the sewer system went down, what would you be into? If it went down, you either had to haul it off or something.
Can you feed the whole system from Katie's? How?
I'm talking about sewer now.
Oh,
sewer.
sewer.
Oh, yeah.
The sewer.
Oh, I got you, you're talking about the elementary school.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about. sewer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, that's a good question. And the work that the school system's doing to that building out there is refreshing it 15 years. The study that Train come in and the one I read, and then after reading it and speaking with them, they said that school's a bunker. They're like, I wouldn't do anything with that school other than fix it. So if that's the way that it goes, and it's still housing plenty of students, we don't have that building full at all by any means necessary. if that's still the case, and, you know,
I just think sewer's probably the worst thing there.
sewer might be the worst thing there, and that's,
Well, if we don't get to work on, like you said, infrastructure, we need to be looking at it. We don't necessarily be hit the face with it and not know what to do, you know.
now, something else I wanna talk to y'all about too, before we start talking about adjournment or any of that. This is not gonna be popular, but I wanna talk about it anyways. So what we have ran into, and I've talked to Clint about this lately, is the Industrial Development Board that was started with Brian Watson years ago. It served a purpose then, and today with the grants that are coming out and with the things that are coming out, we need to discuss. All of the Industrial Development Board that was there at one time has resigned. We had to fill out 2 separate papers with the state. The county went ahead and paid the $25 fee, I think it was, to stick that in. We don't have any members, but we wanna keep it open and keep it an ideal. Because what we're running into right now is Tennessee's growing so fast, and there's companies calling every single day, wanting to know if we have a building for this or a building for that. What we just went through with the cattle plant, and it's not over with yet, but it's still happening, is the Industrial Development Board sitting down there on a piece of property, but they are like water and sewer and things of that nature, they're not getting that in there anyways, they can't get it to them. So he's moving off the industrial park, and he's still got issues he's gotta work with. But we need to address some industry in the county, and that's gonna be part of this committee. I mean, we're gonna have to decide, can we set up the infrastructure so that an industrial development board could come in and go to work and look for good companies to come in here. There's 2 types of industrial development boards, as most of you know. You can have a single, or you can have a joint board. A single board won't allow the commissioners to be on it. A joint board would. A joint board you can have, that's just the same thing as Terry sits on with the Industrial Development Board, Stewart Houston. I've spoken with Charles. They are interested, if the commission is interested, they are interested in a joint industrial board. And that would allow commissioners, city councilmen, public, that would allow all of that, to come into play. I asked Brian Crane to come here, because Brian has been doing a lot of studying on industry in the county and, industrial boards and things like that, and I asked him, to come here, because if the county commission decides to appoint members back to this board, and that's the way it'll start off, that's the way it'll operate it, because there's no members right now, then, I would definitely put his name up, because he's done a lot of homework on it. We have some spots in the county that could use that. We have some spots. I really, really wanna go to Fort Campbell and do that, where they offer a land trade out, you can find them 100 acres, they give you 100 acres. They can't do anything with that property right up on the side of 79 at Montgomery County, Stewart County line. So if we could find them, that's just brainstorming, that's off the cuff, I know, but it's something we definitely have to bring it, we're gonna have to eventually. It's not, if not, it's gonna end up right on top of us whether you want it or not, and you can't control any of it. You want to be able to control some of it.
If you're in the industry, don't they look at, stuff like sewer, water,
Yeah.
Right, well, that's
things
how,
like that?
and that's the reason why I've tied it into this board, is because if the county says, if the commissioners say, we don't wanna go out and explore sewer or water, we don't wanna do any of that, we're happy with what we got, and there's people that's gonna be that way, and there's no problem with that. Everybody gets entitled to their own opinion, but if they're gonna do that, we won't have room for industrial growth. And the industrial board would be irrelevant to me if we're not gonna look towards infrastructure for those boards and those types of settings. If And that's fine, I just, my opinion is we need an industrial development board. I like the fact that commissioners can sit on the joint board. That's just me personally. I like the fact that city councilmen can sit on a joint board. I don't know why I like it, I just think it has more of a, I don't know, but, so, I don't know what y'all's opinion is on that. I know the last industrial development board to come through wasn't popular. That gentleman that spoke the night that I was here at that commission, he's a very intelligent guy, I've spoken to him, very intelligent. Now, his speaking skills would have been better left to somebody else. That's the way it is, but as far as intelligence, he's sharp. But, you know, that was my opinion, and, you know, he said the same thing sitting in the office 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. What's y'all's opinion on that? I know you're holed up, I understand, I've said it tomorrow and talked to you, I know you're holed up. We can get away from that, you know.
I mean, I think we went in and over, had a couple commissioners sit on there, it's, you know, I'll see an issue with it. I'm for it, I mean, but growth's coming no matter we want it or not, I mean, we're just gonna prepare properly for it.
Well, you're talking about industry coming in, I know for a fact that tech building we have there at the industrial park, we showed that, I don't know how many times, people that was interested, but their money wouldn't come through. A lot of times, they'd really be interested, well, before you know it, they wasn't interested. And the state has helped us a whole lot with showing that building and stuff. It's been more interest in that building than people realize. We showed it a bunch of times, and we thought we had it, we thought things were going good, and then all of a sudden, there wasn't no more interest in it, you know, and, but anyhow, hopefully, but we got a problem with, like, the water up there now, you get industry in there now, they require quite a bit of water. I don't know if here, can supply that water.
No, and that's why I wanted to tie this in with the industrial, with this board, because like I said, if we're not interested as a county, and that's fine, but we wouldn't have any place to put any kind of industrial park in the future or anything like that if we weren't gonna talk about.
Oh, well, there's places to industrialize in this county, you don't have to just do it over there in Cumberland City. I mean, yeah, you got rail access, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's coming in, it's just like you said a while ago, it's coming either way. It's not, that industry's coming to the state. It's, you know.
Over at North Stewart, Eric, I mean, what's your capacity right now? I mean,
Pumping water.
yeah. Could you guys withstand more customers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, we can treat a meeting out today real easy,
Yeah, see, so I mean, you
Where
got,
are we at now?
about 300 or 400,000.
About a third?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a little over 30 probably.
I mean, there's Buca's property over there that you guys could obviously industrialize if they wanted to, but.
So tell me your opinions about this board. Is it worth us trying to put some folks together? What do you think about presenting it to the county commission as a whole body? What do you think about the joint versus the single? You know, those are things.
I think the joint is better because you've got some people on there that's been elected by the people to be on there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I think
Kind of,
you have to answer
representative.
this. You
Yeah,
have to answer this.
you have to answer to the people.
But, you know, like, we're talking about water sewer, anything up above North Stewart, you know what sewer is up that way, to get industry in there, you're gonna have to have sewer. And, that's the only drawback you got, you gotta have water sewer there, or not, you can't go there. And,
But there are steps that, as Seth knows, if there's an industry, if we had an industrial park, or if we had the board, you understand the board is the only one that can, if you're getting taxes in lieu money or any of that, that comes from the Industrial Development Board. The county commission has zero say over that at all.
That's right.
They don't have, I mean, well, I mean, they have some say in it, but it has to be, you know, it has to come from the Industrial Development Boards. So if you had somebody that wanted to go into North Stewart with 100 jobs, and they were really good paying jobs, and that board would have the ability to go in and negotiate with them. And it might be something where they would wanna put sewer in themselves, or, you know, you don't know, I mean, I'm just brainstorming.
Right,
It's kinda out there, but it's not, I mean,
it depends on how bad they wanna be.
strangely things have happened. Highway 79 is growing like crazy, so.
It's built, and we have the opportunity to manage it and control it a little bit instead of letting it
Right.
be the Wild West.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly. And like I said, that's why I asked,
And I was just gonna, if that's okay for me,
Yeah.
just asking, what kind of cost, so as far as the city and the treatment, the sewage treatment that they have the capability for, where are they? Are they maxed out, are they?
they're 30%. Now, Charles did tell me that it could get up to 40% because of like the clay lines when when it rains and there's so many cracks and things, and you get a really heavy rain, they could see a lot of rainwater. And that's something they're working on though. I mean, so they're replacing clay lines after clay lines, so, and that's clearly gonna get better, but yeah.
I was just gonna say, if that were expanded throughout the county, whether it came across the bridge or went the other direction or whatever it did, how much more could they handle? And would that get you by until you got funding maybe to do another project of some
Right.
type?
That's, I mean, that would be, to me, I don't know, what do you think? So let's say today, let's hypothetically, I know we're not here for that, but hypothetically, City of Dover could take from here to North Stewart, or from the plant to North Stewart. Would it be more feasible to do that, or would it be more feasible to go to talk to North Stewart and North Stewart say, yeah, we'd like to, and build a new plant? Would it?
I mean, the new plant's gonna be extremely expensive. I mean, that is gonna be it would be a major expense. I mean, you can run the numbers to see how it compare.
Plus, on top of that, you got a lot of recurring expense after you do
You
it.
gotta operate, exactly, you gotta operate it, which is gonna it would have a pretty big budget, you know, to have to, whatever entity, if that's North Stewart was operating it, you know, they have to have, I'm sure, a whole different, you know, you use some staff for repairs and everything, but for that operator, you know,
Be all different.
you have to have different licensures and things like that, so, you know, for simplicity's sake, if you had a place to treat it already, that already had a permit, and all that process, that'd
Be much less expensive.
Do you think the city of Dover would be willing to take that on?
I can't speak for them, but I can tell you the ones that I've spoken to, they understand the more volume for them is driving down the cost for the citizens of Dover, and that's what they're at. Anything they can do that can successfully treat this and drive down the cost for the citizens of Dover, they're into. And they know that if they take their plant from 30% to 60% or 80%, they're gonna drive down the cost tremendously for every one of their citizens. So,
And that's another consideration that I was just sitting here thinking about. If you build a plant over there and you don't have a huge customer base right off the bat, it may be so expensive to operate that you can't even afford it.
Does sewer have the same governing as water does, where you gotta make some money on paper?
Yeah.
well,
Deduction,
depreciation.
Yeah, you gotta factor all that, you know, in your budget, and it's gotta.
I was gonna say, it'd make the operation really expensive, I would think.
If you did have a plan though, to expand, however, whether it's adding another plant or using the one here in town, if you had a plan and you needed funding, or you wanted to draw in possible industry, you had that plan in place, it's gonna be easier to get the funding, and it's gonna also be easier to attract the industry also. But your planning would be a big thing, a big part of that, I would think. Now,
Well, I would think that if you was gonna try to get somebody here, if you had a plan, it'd be easier to attract them
right?
if you had it.
Sure, I mean, you could lay out, okay, if this, then this, you know, you could build it on contingencies. And you might, scale your, treatment or your expenditures according to it reaching certain stages. There's
Right.
lots of things that you could do to plan into that. And then as far as possible funding, what are the options for, you know, you were talking about USDA or what's out there?
When you get into the USDA's and the CDBGs, there's where your heavier dollars are. I'm correct about
Yes,
that?
USDA, you gotta, I mean, you can borrow a lot of money, low interest money like we talked about to really get your big funds. The CDBGs are limited to a certain amount per year, so they, you know, they're like at, I think a little less than 600,000 is like the max you can get with them, but with USDA, you can get, you know, you can get.
They'll put some grant in there too with it.
That's right, that's right, so they won't tell you up front exactly how much, but once you apply, then, yeah, absolutely.
I wanna play devil's advocate just for a second here. I know we're all kinda talking about out east, you know, the North Stewart area and sewer and water, but also, on the flip side of all this, if you start doing infrastructure out west, then you're talking about possibility of having more hotels, more recreational activities. I know the west side of the county is owned a lot by developers. There's a reason for that, because at some point they wanna build and do something with it. You know, I mean, you want infrastructure on the, you know, east side of the river or the west side, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can sit here and talk all day, but if we don't prioritize something and determine where we wanna go in the future and what we wanna do, then, I mean, really, I just kinda feel like it's
Well,
a waste.
kind of what you guys were talking about with the school system though. Something happens at the sewer, that the high school's on, and that whole area right there, something happens to that, what do you do? You'd be solving part of that issue too. You know, regardless of who owns what and who's got what in plans, you're still at least accomplishing that.
Is there any sewer in West as far as?
Yeah, there's and we actually have, the West Stewart has sewer and water, for the whole system, and all that's in there now, it's pretty small, but there's 28 lots that are.
I seen it on your report, but I didn't know if it was operative.
Yeah, no, it's operative, it's, and it's, you know, there are some creative ways to treat sewer, this way, there's septic tanks at each house, and it's pumped to a drip field, basically, it pumps it out and puts it underground. I mean, it's really it's a good way to do it, because we don't have to pump it anywhere, it's just, you know, what's 8-acre site out there that serves those 28 lots. So, you know, there's some systems like around Rutherford County, Consolidated Utility District, they have wastewater service, but they do not have a conventional plant. It's all decentralized. So somebody comes in and builds something, they put in one of those systems, and then they turn it over to the utility district to maintain it after.
So that land has to be dedicated,
It has to be dedicated, that's right. So, you know, it's not as simple as just pumping it to, you know, a conventional plant, but there are ways, you know, for wastewater to, you know, serve places without pumping it all over the place.
Now, how far is Dover Sewer out this way?
Right at Barrett's Tire. Yeah, that's as far as it goes. I think I'm right on that, right?
Yeah,
Because Chris.
He's got a pump, he's got
right.
a pump on it.
Yeah.
You know, too, I mean, I like y'all's ideas too about like trying to come up with sort of a plan, you know, kind of countywide, you know, water sewer plan, you know, if you put something like that together, you know, to try to think about all the different ones on one piece of paper and kind of stage it out, you know, like what's, you know, at least go ahead and get all the ideas out there and put them on.
Well, it's kind of like the USDA that you had here a few weeks ago, put a water treatment plant in and letting the water board serve it, and you can sell to Erie and Tennessee Ridge and Dover, have it for backup. that was a really, really good idea.
You really need a water grid, right? The grid where you just swap it back and forth.
Yeah.
If you tie it all together,
It'd be nice to
it would be.
tie it all together, tie it in even tie it across, eventually make it where you tie it across a river where, North Stewart could send water over here, or, that plant could send it there, it could.
You're not that far apart now, a mile apart?
Got the bridge, don't
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
I mean, you
was
got,
gonna say,
that's a
close
lot,
to
that's a
the
different
map.
mile, but you're a
Yeah.
mile apart. City of Dover
Probably
goes
not
to
that
the
far.
second thing there where the
Corner
pump
way or
is, yeah.
something.
When you start thinking about that kind of stuff, we started talking about sewer coming across the river with the sewer line. If you had it kind of planned out, you might, maybe when you do that project, you put a water line, the same, run them side by side,
Right.
or something like that. I mean, just, some things to really tie it together. And the state's big on that, like that regionalization, talking about, making sure that you've got all those connections. I think those are all, for some of those other grants that are out there, they really will shell out for that, for that kind of thing.
You might figure out some way where you're kind of partially getting a little bit of funding, let's say through the city, and then a little bit through the county, through North Stewart, and connecting,
Yeah.
together, working, and you kind of, if you're putting that grid together, you're kind of protecting yourself and getting a little redundancy at the same time.
I like the idea of that federal money. Federal money.
Guys, that's all I have for tonight, Mr. Fitzhugh, that's your chairman right there beside you.
This man here?
Yeah, so he'll be calling the meetings from now on. So,
So, do we want to then just, think on these projects, and I do think what Eli said, we need to come up with a prioritization list. And so maybe we need to, go back and brainstorm on it for a little bit, come back and meet, and then, start working on putting that, list together, so that we know what types of funding we want to start looking for. Does that sound like the direction we want to head?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we have like even like a master plan or something, we may not be here in 10 years, but who's to say that the people that come in behind us ain't like, well, they have a pretty good idea, let's get started.
Yeah, you can have a base plan for, if people come in, they can review it, and if anybody changes.
That's right.
yeah.
We sit here, don't do
Any,
anything.
any more business or discussion we want to have before we adjourn? Anybody have anything? All right, we'll look to meet again here in a few weeks, and so you all been thinking about that, and we'll start working on that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Thanks.
Motion and second, all in favor?
All right.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Stand adjourned.